Uh, welcome, everyone. Give me just 1 second here. There we go. Uh, welcome. It's been a moment. Several things occurred, since the last episode, which was, um, charity streams and technological automotive failures. But we're back and it's fine. Um, normally I would probably do a round of um, announcements and or promotions, but we will do that at the end this time. Simply for the sole purpose of trying to get this episode underway and trying to get as much of it going as possible. Um, but I suppose just a couple of little things. One, this this is the final season, so we have about, including this episode, 9 more episodes to go before we bid this series farewell. Um, however, uh, we are just going to jump straight into it, because why not? Uh, and we will be back in just a second. Well, welcome back. I'm gonna get trolled tonight. That's what's gonna happen. But during our last episode, the intelligence team kind of was going through uh, reminiscence of past events. After the attack by an interdimensional Ross class ship with creatures that they dealt with in season one and seem to be making moves now. Something that is very alarming. Admiral Jabril made note of that Starfleet was going to do a technological exchange and trade with a pre-warp civilization at the edge of the Beta Quadrant. Notably, for those that are not super familiar with Star Trek, doing a technological trade with a pre-warp society is generally considered against the directives that Starfleet has set in motion, like very much not okay. But there seems to have been a workaround of some kind, and that is what Jabril has sent the intelligence team to investigate and do. However, the most important note is that these individuals that they are doing the trade with look a lot like Lieutenant Miraloris. However, that is neither here nor there in this exact moment as the USS Hypatia moves through slipstream space with a Type 2 slipstream hub at a speed faster than warp. As you were kind of in the last, I would say, 2 hours of heading towards unknown territories, is there anything that you would like to do aboard the Hypatia?
Uh,
Question.
Yes.
Did Mira get the chance to see, like, specifically who they are having the exchange with?
The only people that have, like, the full technical knowledge of that is, Jaloran and Kavai. For 2 entirely separate reasons. But it depends on who is sharing what. I believe I remember Silver, you saying Kavai is just gonna kind of let that ride out and see what happens.
yeah, pretty much.
So it really.
Oh, I love that approach.
It'll really depend on if Jaloran is going to share that information at all.
As part of operational protocol, she would have sent what they know as far as xenobiology. It's like because Mira being chief medical officer would need to know. I was like, if there's any sort of medical issues. So
that's like
she would have
find out.
She would have flagged it as like here's some files to study to brush up on possibilities as like if we have to deal with any medical emergencies, and you have to be like ready to go as a on-site medic or whatever.
All right, so.
Oh yeah, it's just just for the please continue. I'm sorry. I'm just flabbergasted.
Yeah. Once we got settled into the voyage, she would have sent those over to the chief medical officer's office in sickbay, and was like, hey, it's just like a basic like, hey, here's the medical files for you to review on our way out there, so that you're ready when we get there.
Mm-hmm. What do these medical files look like?
These medical files are honestly pretty scarce. This first contact has, for the most part, not existed. And it seems relatively recent. So it, like, in layman's terms here, you're not getting a multi-page document. You're getting, like, a front-to-back page of information, which is basically nothing.
So it doesn't tell me anything apart from, like, the sort of kind of basics, right?
Yeah, it's enough for you to identify who these people are, because you've experienced it, but aside from that, not a lot. And it's not because, like, you wouldn't know that, it is simply because Starfleet and the Federation does not.
Alright, I see. Well, then, she might, like, feel that something is kind of weird, kind of off, kind of familiar, but she's not gonna question it. The universe is, like, incredibly big, and of course if there are, like, different versions of humans all around the place, there have to be, like, people who are sort of kind of like her, so yeah, not a No, nothing that really weirds you out. Yep.
Okay. Um, with that being the case, then, Leora, as you are perhaps, well, you don't actually have to pilot this ship 24/7. Is there anything you would like to be doing in this?
Let me think. I think Liara is mostly piloting the ship, but when they're not, because she has to like take a break like everyone else, um, because Jalorn will make her. She just like goes to her room and like just sort of practices her calming techniques and stuff because this is her first time really behind the wheel of the wheel of a ship in a while. Like a like she's been flying like ships that didn't leave the atmosphere before
Mm-hmm.
for the past year, but she hasn't like left it been in space in a while, so she's just like she's a little frazzled. She's a little like not necessarily off her game, but just a little to the left of her game.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's just trying to calm herself and take a deep breath and just like do all the calming techniques her therapist has taught her. And she has a picture of herself and Bigka, and she's just looking at that, and she's just taking a deep breath, just like in, out, very slowly, very methodically. You're not there anymore. You'll be fine. And if something happens, you can fly through it. You can fly through anything. You know this, and just like calming herself down.
Okay. Um, we kind of pull out of the window in this sort of pulled warp tunnel and passing Starfield, going along the side of the ship into another window. Kavai, what are you presently doing?
If possible, I would like to be doing just any research I can to get familiar with the mission at hand, while also just totally side streaming any sort of like local culture or content that I can get my grubby little mitts on.
Okay. Are you looking for like through like official channel, or are you looking for just any type of data stream you can access?
I think Kavai's usual is that they would start for public access, and whatever is unsecured that probably should be, they just find anyway.
Okay.
They're more interested in like the arts and culture at like a broad scale, but if they fall into anything, they fall into anything.
I see. Kind of I wasn't looking for it, but now that I'm here. Oh well.
Ooh, shiny!
Okay. You definitely, through official means, it seems like Starfleet, for whatever reason, has kept this very close to the chest. But outside source seems to be, you seem to have linked in a audio broadcast of, it's very like garbled and staticked out, kind of like in the way that you would deal with in our world, like a very jumbled up like 1930s 40s radio.
Gotcha.
But it feels very promotional. And it like you're picking up certain things like words that on the surface seem great, but you've seen enough of the galaxy to know that like the way it's like the intonation in which they are speaking that you can hear. You're hearing words like perfection and glory and honor and things like that, and
Mm-mm.
it just those words in itself, like, yeah, that's not bad, but you're also familiar with, like, per se, Earth's history around that time period, and it's like, this is bad.
Yeah, red flags.
And
There's
I
definitely,
think the
like,
thing that sets the biggest red flag for you is the word purity that comes out.
I think there's like this initial like, ooh, this is like old. This is fascinating. A little bit crackly. Whatever. I can deal with this. I've seen records. And then her face goes from excited, happy, ooh, nice old thing, awesome, to like very flat, to a scowl, to just this like her nose just completely like twists up and she just has like a like just all these nasty feelings in her gut and she's just like, oh god, Dad would love this shit. Okay, alright, I just like I think I just like pull out like an earbud and like chuck it across the room. I'm done for the day.
Yeah. Right before you chuck it out, you hear the word that sounds like just a piece of the word, but you can piece it together. Opportunity is also what comes out, but before you just chuck it, we're just like, this is disgusting. I don't want to hear anything more.
Mm-hmm. I think I would like note the file and like I probably send this over to Lauren, but it's like annotated. And Kavai's been making an effort lately, so it's formal, but there is a very like she's skirting the line of saying this is fucking bullshit. Would you get a load of this? Like, but it is on that line. Like you could
Formal with
tell
the vibe
she
of informality.
yeah, you could tell she hit delete like a number of times to not swear in the log.
You accessed the thesaurus a lot, clearly.
Oh yeah, yes. Oh, she would.
As that blips and gets sent up, Jaloran, you, the on-station, con officer, a middle-aged, kind of surprising because con officers generally end up being a little younger just because of their brazenness. But this con officer is middle-aged. He's probably gets stressed out a lot by the slight, like, sides of gray hair that are coming in before he turns around and, well, we're here, Captain. The absolute edge of nowhere.
Perfect place to explore and a perfect place to get a bit lost.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I got transferred here a couple weeks ago. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to take that.
Bring up the scans as we come out of warp. Let's get a look at the space.
There is a, like, over the past year, after the whole, like, Ross class Nebula incident, I think it's probably fair to say Jaloran probably had the Hypatia updated to contend with a lot of stuff that the Hypatia was not geared for before. And so on the view screen, kind of like this yellow-white grid pattern comes up across the screen, and a marker that marks where the Hypatia is relative to like stars and gravitational metrics and stuff are pulled up. And what you can see initially is about 5 planetary systems, 2 of which are class M. One of them is quite an oddity out here, and they are very rare in these days, but it's a class O. And the others seem to be what you would consider dead planets.
For those who may not know, what is a Class O planet?
It's fully water.
Got it. Thank you.
Question.
Yes.
Can it, does that mean that there's still a possibility of, like, life on
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the life would just adapt to be aquatic.
Ooh,
Another
I
thing
like
to
it.
note that comes up for you to learn is that oceanic planet seems to be creating sensory, like, distortion in the tech, to where it can scan it, it knows it's there, but everything within, like, what would be considered its gravity or its electromagnetic field, anything in it you can't really detect via scans. It pretty much has to be seen. But the other thing that comes up is you can see a ton of blips between the 2 M-class planets, a lot of space traffic. You're too far to see it on screen, but from what you can tell, nothing is moving faster than maybe 1/3 impulse. But it's very active. It's like two gigantic, unmanaged metropolises with traffic. The con officer is looking at this scan and is trying to kind of process this a little bit, because there's a technological trade that's supposed to happen, but pre-warp, like, he makes probably a face that you had maybe a day ago, where he's like, I don't understand why we're out here.
Yeah, it's like she's instinctively like getting up on her feet and stepping closer to the view screen as if she can kind of like physically zero in on that. And she's got an eyebrow quirk. She's equally puzzled by this.
It's zoomed in as far as it's gonna go. The only way for us to see is to get closer, but I don't know where the Prime Directive falls on that, especially since we've been given a mission that makes, if you'll pardon my language, no goddamn sense at all.
Let's flag this, and if we do end up swinging closer, then let's see if we can get better scans as we get closer. Otherwise, onwards to our destination.
Yeah, I think there's another... Yeah, I have scans here. There's another Starfleet vessel out here. Oh, okay. Well, that's alarming.
Who do we have with us out here?
USS Prometheus class. They're behind the second planet's moon.
Curious. Classic observation posting.
Do you want me to get closer and hail them, or should I have the commander come up and take over?
Let's swing wide and see what they do.
Sure. He kind of marks it, and for him swing wide, it's not that he's not fully looped into the mission, because of course with intelligence, compartmentalizing is super important. But swing wide to like kind of observe and approach, he probably does it more than he needs to, before resting behind the third planet, which is one of the dead ones, and hanging in sort of a low orbit so that way you can observe and hail and talk to the other ship should you so desire. But with that, just as that happens, you can see, upon scans, you can see, like, transporter residue, going to and from this Prometheus-class vessel and this planet. And just for the sake of it, essentially, for someone who's here now, Vance, they got to the planet that was of concern from last episode, and it's kind of a figuring out what's going on before acting. But for Kana here, is there anything that Kana would like to be doing within the Hypatia at this moment?
She would be doing a lot of research because that's one of her things is that she likes doing research on all things that she's being asked to do. So she's just devouring information as she can get it.
Mm-hmm.
And she would also be attempting to do some of the Vulcan calisthenics that her partner has been attempting to teach her.
Okay.
And I emphasize attempt.
Oh yeah. It is difficult to. They explained it in such a obviously logical fashion, but to the point where it was maybe like too logical of an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
But as that all of you are kind of in your separate spaces dealing with this, Jaloran, the Hypatia is being hailed.
Let's find out who wants to have a chat.
Okay. Where it is. Where are you? Yes, there we go. This is a the screen that comes up is Federation. The uniforms are a little different than the ones that your crew wears. Similar, they have all the different color markings and stuff, but they're a lot more reminiscent of like the 2370s, the later 2370s. But they look like they've been modernized. The person at the end of the screen, as you look into their bridge, which is primarily very sterile looking and full of glass and blue glow, is a kind of woman with kind of darker toned skin, long, kind of braided locks of hair, and a slight look of interest more than anything. The rank pip that you can see is that of a Commodore, but you're going through like your recollection of Commodores, and obviously Commodores and Rear Admirals, there's a lot of them. And even if you
But
don't know
not
their
so many that-
name, you should know
yeah.
their face, and you don't know their face, and you certainly don't know their name, so the only thing that comes to you is like, well, they could be just newly promoted, but even still, that's an oddity, as they are looking into your view screen and you looking into theirs, probably with equal looks of interest, but with like a different base as to why the interest is there.
Yeah, and the Commodores and Rear Admirals, it's like there's not so many that you would not be familiar with at least the basic roster.
What brings you all the way out here, Captain?
I could ask the same of you, Commodore.
Well, we're the ones who are heading up the technological exchange mission, though I was given information that someone may be taking over, but you'll pardon me if you... well, you'll pardon me if I don't want to really let go of this opportunity.
Well, you've given yourself part of the answer, that we are your replacement. What is so interesting that you are reluctant to move on to a different mission?
Perhaps it would be better to have this conversation face to face and not through view screens.
I have a rather secure conference room that we could use, if you're willing.
No offense, Captain, but if something were to happen, I trust the armor of a Prometheus class versus a Nova. And my
You haven't
conference
been
room is
on-
a little bigger.
My first and I will meet you there.
Very well, Captain. Say within the hour?
Agreed.
The view screen clicks off and the con officer there kind of like turns to you and looks kind of like, that felt weird.
It does.
You're not actually gonna go over there, right? Like this. I don't know if this is exactly what it is, and don't ask me how I really know, but like this has some S31 written all over it.
Are we close enough to get some decent scans of the Prometheus?
I don't know what their technological level is. I mean, comparative to ours, you could probably get some scans, Captain, but they're probably gonna know.
She does a bit of a half shrug.
Okay, sure, I can do that. I don't think they're gonna offer you coffee when you beam aboard their ship, though.
I like our replicators better than theirs.
What is it with captains and replicated coffee? It just seems to be a theme of them. First Voyager, and then just kind of drones on a little ways. We're just like, just. This is clearly a man who at least has connections to get like actual ground coffee. After a little bit, you get scans back. This Prometheus class, the USS Io, is geared out with a Mark IV ablative hull armor, 16 phaser arrays, 4 pulse phaser cannons, and it looks like they are carrying a payload of 42 photon torpedoes and 42 quantum torpedoes, as well as a volley of 10 transphasic torpedoes.
Anything that's pinging is, like, weird about the composition of the ship.
The crew complement comes up as weird to you. A Prometheus class generally holds about 212 Starfleet crew members, officers, and enlisted. What comes up for you is 116. And I don't
Anything
know,
off?
for you, Lynn, if you just need a reminder, I think Lauren is enough to remember a certain aspect of that number. The initial in that sort of, like, red space that you were in, what got out was 17 initially, one which you dealt with in the past, and then the Ross class had 100.
Is there anything pinging as weird on those life signs? Because that would have been part of the usual complement of scans for her.
Yes, for some of them, some not so much, because, I mean, different species equals different, like, internal body temps, but the human, or what should be the human, like, internal body temperatures are reading around, like, probably 68 to 70 degrees. In other words, kind of whatever the ambient room temperature is.
she's gonna flag that. And she's going to do an encrypted package back to Admiral Jabril.
Okay. The distance in which you are, there's gonna be some lag time. Like, Jabril probably won't fully get that for like an hour.
Yeah. But she at least wants Jabril to know, like, there's something weird going out here. And it matches what we've been tracking.
Again, Captain, you're not actually serious about going over there. I realize you kind of agreed to it, and at a certain point it's gonna be suspicious, but I'm a lieutenant. What do I know?
At the moment, we need as much information as we can gather, and if that means heading over, then it's a risk we'll have to take.
I
But
just
we're not
wanted
going
Twitch
in-
chat to know that currently our little group chat is filled with like theories of what the hell is happening over there with that ship. We're like
That's
on
us.
it.
Things are happening.
We're all sus.
But we're not going in blind.
No, but you know what? It's almost time for shift change anyways. I'll have the commander come up. Besides, I feel like the two of you need to have a conversation anyways.
Dismissed.
I come up.
I think you can see immediately, Leora, that Jaloran has a very contemplative face that probably is mixed with a little bit of anxiousness. Just for everyone's benefit, the Hypatia got upgraded to deal with threats, so it can't just be punished immediately by a bigger ship. But this Prometheus class is definitely something that we don't want to trifle with without a lot of thought. Yeah, I think Kana's there as well. Or it would be now.
Yeah. Because given that we're in intelligence, would Jordy's little thing from Nemesis be common knowledge with our group? The little one-time transporter thing?
Let's see. The timeline. Yes, sort of.
And would Kana have been given the information about the weirdness that's going on with the Prometheus?
Depends on if Jaloran would share that, but other than that, that's kind of up to really the upper two of this command, depending on how you want to cause anxiety or not.
Yeah, when Leora gets up there and sees Jaloran's look, Leora goes, "All right, I know that look, Captain. Where are we going? What's happening?"
She gestures over to her ready room and heads that way.
I follow. Captain, something tells me you're about to do something that neither of us is gonna like.
From what I'm told, that Prometheus class out there was on this mission first. They were there to do the technological exchange, and they had been informed that they would be replaced, but the Commodore is reluctant. When I inquired as to what they found so interesting, they suggested that it would be better to have a face-to-face conversation. I recommended coming here. They countered with going to the Prometheus class.
As your first officer, it is my job to say, Captain, you should not go to that ship alone. If you're going, you should not go to that ship alone.
I indicated that I and my first would be there soon.
Okay, so we're going into a ship that's probably a trap. We should probably, if we're gonna do that, Captain, we should probably let everyone know that we're going into a trap and to be ready. Did you recognize the Commodore?
I did not, and that's a problem.
Do we have?
As she hands Leora a data pad with the life sign scans on it.
Okay. Since Leora because of their mother, Leora has a little bit more familiarity with Commodores and with like the upper. Would Leora recognize this person?
Yes. This person is, or was at one point, was a Captain Fatima Shahi, which, in terms of the record, nothing super outstanding, nothing that interesting, except a battle that took place about 8 months ago that kind of put them on the radar for heroics and bravery and the like of that. The Excelsior class in which they commanded at the time was dealt some pretty heavy damage, and the captain was dealt a pretty severe injury that they didn't think they would recover from. But subsequently they managed to pull through and then were granted the rank of Commodore for the actions and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I basically tell Jaloran that I say, this is formerly Captain, now Commodore Fatima. Pretty standard captain. Nothing of note except for about 8 months ago. They were in. She was. Are there pronouns she, her, or they, them, or what?
She, her.
Okay. She was in a fight in her Excelsior class. She was injured. They didn't think that she'd make it. She did. And she was awarded for her heroics with the rank of Commodore.
Jaloran moves over to her desk console to pull up Commodore Rahi's personnel file to give Leora time to like take a closer look at the scans on the data pad.
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
Primarily, she's interested in what, according to Starfleet records, after getting promoted, where did they send Rahi? And is she doing a desk job? Or did she actually get command of a Prometheus class? Where is she supposed to be?
She did get a command of a Prometheus class, and switched from diplomatic to escort and acquisition missions in unknown or dangerous space.
Interesting.
On top of that, the Excelsior class in which she commanded. Like, its primary mission was secondary contact and diplomatic diffusion.
Lynn, above board, what is it that you're trying to get Liara to see? With the pad?
The really odd
Okay.
body temps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that not only like the crew count and the fact that there's really odd body temps.
Yeah. Liara, when Liara notices that, they don't say anything out loud, but they just give you a look like, oh, that's not good. And she says, well, Commander, we're probably going into the lion's den.
So it would seem as she spins the desk console around so that Liara can see the current mission profile for Commodore Ree.
Mm-hmm.
Seems they're an ideal target for being replaced.
Or they might have been replaced during, maybe Fatima did not actually make it in that fight. And they were replaced then, because this seems like a drastic change quite quickly.
Agreed.
Quick question, Joe. With Liara's knowledge of ships, are all those weapons on the Prometheus A supposed to be on the Prometheus, and B actually Federation make, or has the Prometheus gotten an upgrade? That
For the
it
most
shouldn't
part,
have.
yes, that is generally what is on a Prometheus vessel in this day and age. The heavy payload of quantum and transphasic torpedoes is an oddity, though. Like, the quantum torpedoes should not be exceeding over, like, maybe, like, 18. And transphasic is very much a mission-specific type of weaponry.
Is this a mission where they should have that?
Absolutely not.
Just making sure. I point out the payloads. I'm like, they have way too many quantum torpedoes, and I can't say the word, but
Transphasic torpedoes.
transphasic torpedoes should not be there for this mission. Those are certain missions only, and this is definitely not one of them. Those things are used to wipe out fleets, not cultural exchanges.
They're expecting resistance.
Yep. I mean, yeah, we're gonna have, so when we go over there, we're probably gonna be prisoners. You do realize this, right, Captain?
At this point, she's just kind of frowning at the screen. And she taps her, like, she doesn't leave the ready room yet, but she taps a request over to Kana real quick to get scans of like where they had spotted transporter residue. She wants to get scans of the planet surface in that area. She wants to know what they're interested in down there. I was like, why is there transporter residue there?
Okay. Kind of doing that and looking through, like, scans. It's hard to say because the architecture and city structure is very strange, but for the most part, what you could see kind of is transport to what would be considered, like, a governmental building of some kind.
And what was their technological level again?
Pre-warp, supposedly.
Would they have security cameras?
Yes, they'd have, like, crude, like, CCTV, probably. Or that's what you would assume.
I would arch an eyebrow at Jaloran and go, I could
Well,
try.
Jalorn's not in eyesight right now, so
Oh,
you'd be
okay.
arching an eyebrow at the console. She sent a request via console.
Yeah. She would ping Commander Jaloran and go, I think we might be able to get eyes on the transporter site.
She pings back with a go ahead.
And I assume this would be a hacking roll.
Yes, this is going to be a roll here. This is going to be. This is going to be a control and security roll with a difficulty of 3. And I am going to spend 4 threat for this.
I assume my focus is in computers and hacking would apply here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I will give you a threat for an extra die.
Sound good?
And so control and security, that's 14.
Mm-hmm.
So anything under 4 will be a crit.
Yep.
A 9, an 18, and a 1.
Okay.
We got a complication in there.
Yes.
Yeah, but we got
Yep.
3 successes, so it's a weird it's a weird victory / defeat at the same time.
Oh yeah. You were able to get into the camera feeds, and what you were expecting is, like I said, you were probably expecting like a crude CCTV, but what you are actually getting is like decent, like 2K camera video feeds, and you're seeing people move. They look vague. They look humanoid. They look a lot like, or at least the flecks of like blue freckles and stuff. That's very reminiscent of Lieutenant Loris. Are moving back and forth and stuff. And you are seeing something really interesting that throws you for a huge loop. You are seeing a like people moving in like in the background, but you're seeing like a kind of white-green flash, and they're just gone. But you're also seeing white-green flashes and people just appearing.
And I would say that as soon as I make a connection, I am recording immediately everything that I'm seeing.
Perfect. That works in with this complication. As you are going through and kind of recording everything, you don't realize it right away because you're kind of fascinated by this technological oddity that really shouldn't exist here. But at some point, as you're doing this recording, you're noticing this recording, like the tunnel of technology, is not one way. At some point, this one-way watch has become 2.
I kill the connection immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And I ping the commander again. Commander, you're going to want to see this.
Just to be clear, Jaloran's a captain now, not a commander.
Oh, I keep forgetting. Sorry.
She pulls up the recording on the console.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see the exact same thing, Jaloran. These, like, people that live on this planet that are appearing and disappearing, and it seems to not be an oddity for them. It seems to be quite a regular thing. But it is disturbing, and this is also the thing which you have learned that this is why they're pre-warp, because they don't need it. And you have heard stories of technology similar from your cousin, actually, in their stint in the Delta Quadrant, where they encountered technology very similar that could have got them home almost immediately. And perhaps this is why this technological exchange is so important to this Commodore.
Well, think we can see why this quote unquote Commodore wants the tech. If they are who we think they are, that would be very bad if they got their hands on that.
Indeed. She's gonna ping Kavai next. Because like she knows Kavai's tendency to dig into cultural history, and so she's gonna ping a request for Kavai. It's like, have they studied the historical texts of the civilization? Have they been able to get access to any of that? And have they been able to track what has their culture been like to their earliest times? It's like, when did things start to change drastically with their civilization?
Can I find this out?
Yes and no. This is going to be a this is going to be a reason science roll with a difficulty of, we'll say 3 again. And I will burn 3 threat here.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to give you another threat to buy a die.
Alright.
I assume I can use a focus here to help as well.
Which one?
Well, I've got xenoanthropology.
Yeah, that would
work.
kind of fall in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what she's asking for.
Cool. And it has been
One of the things that she's particularly interested in is like if there was a major discovery that like completely changed the course of this society.
Gotcha. Oh god, my eyes. Huh, well, I'm rolling, interesting. Oh, darn, that was almost really funny, actually. So, 13, 15, and 16 on the dice.
13, 15, and 16?
Just on the dice, so...
Well, that's
Okay.
that's 3 successes. Isn't it?
Hang on, I'm double checking. What was the discipline again?
It would be science.
Oh, I'm higher than I thought. I think that's 2.
Okay.
2 and a bumpkus.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's
close,
what
though.
you will get out of that then. Looking into their like own little files and things that you can access, there doesn't seem to be any reliable information about roughly 300 years ago. After that, like looking back anything past 300 years, there doesn't seem to be any concept of where society might have changed. But something you are noting is for this place, disease, different types of like disability, and all of that stuff just seemed to have vanished.
Huh.
Even the concept of like conflict seems to not exist. In other words, it feels like a utopia with some sort of like. It feels like a malicious utopia, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, who'd they get rid of that they didn't like before? That's what I want to dig into, if I may.
Digging into that again, you kind of fall into the same problem. Is anything you go back about 300 years, and then any records of that just don't exist.
Do I get the feeling it like might be on paper or
It's probably
locked up where we
physical
would?
records somewhere on the planet, yes.
Hmm.
Which you could try and get permission for that, but that is such a high
Ooh.
risk thing.
If I was gonna phrase it, yeah, you might want to send some people to dig into this. They're not offering necessarily.
Yeah, it's like and whatever Kavai sends over, it's like Jalord kind of scowls at it because it confirms a little bit of a suspicion for her. Because it's that they found something, and like anything prior to that discovery and the way they changed society has been essentially quote unquote firewalled.
You would
It is
definitely
like-
get like there's the professional note, and then you get like a private, like essentially like a PM. It's just like, this makes me feel really gross. I don't want to assume anything, but, and then just lets that implication hang.
But yeah, it was like it's like her hunch is like something went sideways, and then it's like with all of this, with the change in society because of the discovery of this tech, it created something uncomfortable to outside observers. But the mere access to the tech has drawn unwanted attention. By this particular group that they've been tracking.
GM,
Yes.
I know from just waves hand vaguely at everything, getting news sources from a culture themselves is often rife with bias.
Yes. Yes.
What do their neighbors have to think or say about all of this, including going back that far into their records, if possible?
Their neighbors' records are the exact same. In addition to that, supposedly, from what you can see, their neighbors have nothing but good things to say about them.
Fuck that! Like, I think she actually says that just out loud, of just like, no. Everybody has some shit to say. I'm like looking up at how these people are talking about each other now. I want dirt. She went from, I don't want to stick my nose in this, I don't want to know, to, excuse me? People don't talk like this? What the fuck is happening here?
For the most part, every conversation seems very cordial. There are a couple that do flag as, like, kind of confrontational before, immediately, like confrontational, like, say, like, text message per se, and then immediately, probably a half hour later, saying, like, I'm sorry, that was, out of pocket. I shouldn't have said that.
Public apology. Oh, that she just goes deep dive.
Is any of the media flagging as like classic propaganda for a particular government?
Heavily so.
Mm.
Okay.
The planet closest to this system's sun seems to be the governmental body. The other one seems to be more of a secondary, tertiary type of like city and planet where occupants are. And they supposedly are living a decent life as well. But again, it feels.
Is there signs of heavy Big Brother?
Oh yeah, it's giving off 1984 all over the place.
Okay.
Ew.
Speaking of you, 1 second here.
Oh gosh, I have a couple ideas. Put a pin in me and come back.
Sounds good. Everybody wave and say goodbye to the bot. Fuck you. Anyways,
Bye, bot. I was just about to say, just like, bye, bot.
I have not been keeping a close eye as I would
it's alright.
normally.
Yeah,
Not that I have power here. What am I talking about?
But
it's just one little lonely one
Are
trying to scream for
Twitch chat
attention.
because I really need to start watching it because I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't look into the Twitch chat at all because Twitch is too long to open and I'm too lazy.
Yeah.
So I hope nobody's talking shit
It's
about me
pretty-
there because I'm gonna fucking find you.
No, pretty quiet.
It's
Pretty
quiet
quiet
this
chat
time.
tonight.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anything, it'll probably be more active on the VODs once I stop fighting with technology and I can actually do that this week. But anyways, yeah, it's giving off some very like 1984, like everything's perfect, nothing is bad type of vibe.
Regardless of the red flags this planet is giving us, Captain, we can't. If we know if that ship is filled with the people we think they are, we can't let them get that technology.
We've got some dovetailing priorities here. It's like what seemed to be on the surface a simple technology exchange has turned into something else entirely. And so there's not anything like Prime Directive wise, there isn't anything we can do as far as influencing society.
No. Which is why I suggest we stay focused on that ship.
Well, it's a dual focus at this point. It's like with everything hinky going on, it's like my focus was when did they find that tech? And then the other pattern that I would like to look into is because they're so used to popping in and out, how long has the Prometheus, the crew on the Prometheus class, been infiltrating by simply just popping in and out? So Mira asked, are we talking about the planet that she's from, her character's from? I think you said last episode her planet of origin is a little further away, but it's the same.
Oh,
Yeah,
please don't ask
species.
this question out loud and don't say it out loud. It feels so horrible that I can't concentrate and take in
No,
information.
It's alright. But yeah, it is a
I don't want to seem like I'm not listening. I'm really trying. I'm just.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, like Mira's planet is, from what you can see, like observation, it's very similar. But Mira's planet would be like a light year or two away. But similarly,
So did,
it like
I'm just
with
like, are
this type
they-
of tech, it doesn't seem like distance is a factor.
okay, so we're not seeing the space traffic between those planets that we are between the two Class M's.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's like with their tech, distance doesn't matter, so they could be popping in and out. But would there be signs of like residual signs that there used to be like intersystem travel?
Yes, because like a modern day Earth or orbit is filled with fucking shit just orbiting in space that no longer works. So they're like, you know, what would
So
be
maybe
considered
like there's
junk.
like so yeah. So maybe there's like space debris outside that planet a light year away.
Yeah, for sure.
So they are looking at the clock. Like, how much time do we have before that captain's going to call us to bring us over there?
About 15 minutes.
All right.
No, I'm feeling fine. I'm feeling fine. Sorry.
Okay.
I just really super duper confused for a second.
You're good.
I had an idea, kind of a change of a plan of what I was thinking I wanted to do. I think Kavai kind of like sits on this shit for a minute and finally just like essentially just like, ugh, God damn it, I can't avoid this conversation. I think they like have like a debate of like I think they type out a message multiple times before deleting it and then just saying oh, fuck it and like leaving the room of like wherever they were just working on shit. And I'm gonna go off and find Mira.
Mira's in sickbay, so it's easy to find.
Ugh. They stand out there for like a good like maybe 5 minutes before opening their messaging app once more and just like because they're not going in there like fuck it, they're having a day. And just essentially like texting Mira, hey, can you meet me outside for a sec? I gotta talk to you about a thing.
Well, that's definitely weird. She's gonna kind of put down whatever she is working on very leisurely. She's not like doing anything special. And walk out. Hey there. What's up?
Kavai's expression is extremely dour. Like she's been sucking on something fucking sour. So I wasn't sure how to bring this up, but we're here and you're here. What the fuck is up with your planet?
Oh, what?
Sorry. She will like give you like the info dump of like everything that she's been working on, and like just through like a slew of apologies.
You're like
Smooth,
looking
Kavai,
stunned,
smooth.
like specifically, like as if someone like threw a like one of those pipe bombs at her. Like the hell?
Yeah.
To clarify, we're not at Mira's planet exactly, right?
No, not exactly. but
Right,
you were
no, we're
within,
not.
Like, you were within like a hop, skip, and a jump away from it. Like it is not that.
Okay, so
far.
these
Like,
these two planets aren't Mira's planet, but they're close enough.
They're her people. They look like her. But
Yeah.
Kavai
I
doesn't
don't
know
think
this
Kavai
is not
has
where.
that full context at all.
Kavai doesn't know that this is not the birth planet for Mira. Just that Mira looks like these people.
Yep. Classic foot and mouth.
Yeah. Mira kind of like looks around and pulls her probably into like the quietest corner she can find. Well, not specifically pulls, just kind of very gently grabs by specifically the sleeve of her shirt and kind of gently pulls.
I think even at
to-
that, like, you just get this wave of, oh, I know I fucked up. Like, it was worse than I thought. Oh, no.
Okay, now, and well, they're in a quiet place. All right, now, please help me understand. They are people that look like them, correct?
I think, like, that takes, like, a second to register, and she's like, oh, cousins. Oh, okay, got it.
No, no. Ugh. Not all allies are cousins, right? Of course they're not my cousins. I don't have cousins. I don't have parents. It's
No,
complicated.
sorry. Orion term. Just like kin.
Well, sort of. Oh gosh, I thought they would kill each other all by now. But
I
guess
mean,
not. So you're saying they have technology, as in weaponry, as in this kind of thing? Oh, this is not good.
yeah, I don't understand all of that shit. But like, even just like, I think I like play you a couple of clips of like that like 30s
Yeah,
broadcast. Just
It's
like,
actually good question. Can I understand what they're saying?
ooh, yeah, she would have like a much
Considering
better
this is-
read on it than I would.
This is literally my
Yes.
home language.
Yes, you will. I'm not even gonna make you roll for it because you are used to hearing these garbled like radio casts and things that you are like listening to is like honor and all of those things coming up. It is a planetary wide broadcast that essentially boils down to a call to arms, and opportunity is more of a universal term for basically why limit ourselves to 2 planets, essentially.
That's fine. That's cool. That's great. Oh God. We have to leave. We have to leave right now.
Wait, what? What did I miss? Like,
Okay.
I think like
here's
alarm bells.
Here's the proper gist of it. I am not, of course, obviously, I'm not from Earth. This planet is full of bloody psychopaths. And I don't mean bloody as in a replacement for, cussing. I mean, their hands are covered with blood. You probably heard about the planets that do the, what's it called? A purge? Yes, a purge. Essentially, every once in a while.
Kavai goes through like this series of just like opening her mouth, shutting it, looking down, looking at her hands, and just being like, it takes like a couple seconds for the shoe to drop of, oh no, they really do mean literally. And then it's just like,
And I will say this for you, Kavai. Perhaps that is why you can't find anything 300 years back, because perhaps, on top of perhaps being like annual purges, perhaps there is a full like societal every 300 years to create the most perfect illusion of like utopia.
So, like, all knowledge, all literature, everything gets purged.
Yep.
Ooh. How? I know how I'm feeling as a player. My hackles are beyond raised. Is this like news any kind of level of alarming that someone who is a bit paranoid might just try to say that we should issue an alert in a panic? Or
Yeah, I think so. I think also with the like scans and stuff that you were getting, you probably don't have the full details of everything that's going on, Kavai, but through your looks and stuff, you do have a general read of both planets' populations combined, which equals about 25 billion.
yeah,
You know who is going to issue the panic, whatever? It's gonna be Mira. Like,
oh,
Kavai is, yeah, I mean, she's not the one to panic, but she has been, well, not anymore, but she lived at their planet until she was, what, like, about 10 or so years old, maybe smaller, 10 or 6, about, or 7, about that age.
I dig that. Above table, I think you would see Kavai like, I don't know how it works for like chain of command or who is able to issue yellow to red alerts.
Anyone can do it if you like truly, generally speaking. Okay, generally speaking, officers and those in the command field or who have command training are able to do that. However, that can change under direct exigent circumstance that warrants immediate action.
Okay, so that's not something I would ever need to like hack to do.
No.
Sweet.
No. If you
I
like,
still think you, Mira, I think you would still see Kavai like hesitating over like whatever, like I don't know if it's like a fucking switch. I know it's like all verbal. But Kavai doesn't do anything verbal.
It's a verbal code that you have. That is basically every officer generally has one. You using this particular code will have like obviously investigation post everything, but it is essentially a override, like a one-time override for situations like this.
Gotcha. You would definitely see Kavai like hovering over that and then look at you, realizing you have rank, and then just like give you like a wide-eyed look.
Yeah, she is.
Mind that if it's not truly warranted, then you're gonna have the wrath of Jaloran on your heads.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, Mira is not thinking clearly. She is having a full PTSD episode.
Yeah.
Like, not even funny. This is not. She is horrified. This is bad. And I mean, like, imagine if, like, a bully that you used to, that would like threaten you constantly when you were at school, when you were a young child, is now an adult and he's walking around and he has a license to carry. This is specifically what she's experiencing.
That absolutely will snap Kavai out of her own head. I will tap my comm badge and call for Jaloran to meet us in the medical bay, specifically Mira's office, and I will take Mira in there.
Okay. Here is where this complication happens, to some degree as well. At this point in time, Jaloran and Leora have about 5 minutes to make a decision as to what their action is going to be. So you will get that, Jaloran, and honestly, Leora at the same time, because you're in the same space. But that is where your timing is at.
We have 5 minutes, Captain. before we have to make a decision. Do you want me to prep the ship for evasive maneuvers, or do you want us to head over there? Because if Kavai is asking us to go to the medical bay, it's bad. So we need to decide quickly.
She ponders a moment and then it's like she suddenly gets this sly little smile. As if she's like come up with a moment of like a possible stalling tactic. I believe we need to inform the Commodore that our chief medical officer has identified a highly contagious infection, and unfortunately, we need to quarantine the ship. We must profusely apologize for not meeting with them at this moment until we address the medical emergency.
Would you like me to share the news, or would you like to do that yourself?
You go ahead and share the news and see if you can identify any other officers on that bridge.
Yes, sir. I'll have us hail them momentarily.
If she questions where I'm at, just let her know that I have gone down to meet with our chief medical officer to ascertain the extent of the infection and if they've been able to identify exactly where we picked it up. And if you
Alright.
need to, you just fudge a lie that we had to make a couple stops on the way here.
Understood. Also, it's space. It's very weird.
It is very weird.
All right. I think Kavai is really going to need you because if they're in the medical bay willingly, that's a bad sign.
Right.
Something's not right.
Yeah, Zoran, you head down to the medical bay. Meanwhile, Leola, the screen flicks on at 60 minutes on the mark. And this Commodore is here, looks a little surprised here, to see you and not the captain, but lets that slide.
Quick question: do I see any recognition from this? Because we never met, but if it's like the people from the Ross class, they might recognize me because they tried to kill me a million times. So do I see any recognition in their eyes?
There doesn't seem to be a recognition, and you're not sure whether or not that's they just don't know you, or they don't find you a viable threat to be acknowledged.
Understood. All right. Commodore,
I was expecting your captain. I remember I was doing my own research, and from what I've seen, they're very punctual, so I find this surprising.
yes, we've had to make several stops along the way, and according to our chief medical officer, we picked up a very bad infectious disease somehow. It's space. It's weird. So she is quarantine with the captain. We are on minimal crew right now, so we cannot board your ship. Otherwise, we will spread whatever we got to you. We're following standard protocol procedures, standard quarantine procedures.
She kind of looks down at something, and the way she's positioned herself in the view screen, she takes up a lot of the screen, so it's hard to see the backdrop. But the
Can I see any of the officers? Like she can't be that huge.
no,
Can she?
but just the way she's doing it in such a way where okay, I'm gonna do some weird cinematography nerdum, but if you apply film to the rule of thirds, she is essentially taking up as much of those rule of thirds space as possible. She can't take up all the space, obviously, but she is making herself the primary focus of the view screen, if that makes sense.
Is it because that's just how this person is, or is this because she's trying to deliberately keep everyone?
It's not that she's
From
trying
being
to
seen.
deliberately keep information. It's kind of like a control thing.
Yeah.
If like she can see into your view screen and see your officers and stuff, kind of from where you're positioned. Essentially, you're gonna have less information than she will in this exchange.
All right.
But you can see people in the background and stuff.
So Leora just like when those that just casually positions themselves like better so that she can't identify as many of the officers as possible. Leora is basically as casually as possible is just trying to like be basically keeping the focus on her, like she's keeping like the Commodore keeping the focus on her, and just like staring her down and just going. So we can't really go over right now, Commodore. I apologize for the inconvenience.
I understand, and you're right. I didn't realize you were operating a Nova-class vessel with 53 people. So that seems... Perhaps your crew members picked it up there. And perhaps the ones that aren't available felt a little under the weather, and... I mean, airborne pathogens are so unpredictable.
They are, sir.
Well, if you need any medical supplies or assistance, we do have a full sickbay here.
Thank you. Right now, we rather not risk another ship. Standard procedure and all. We will keep you informed. I will meet with the captain's coordinating with our chief medical officer right now. I will try to meet with you within the next 3 hours.
The next 3 hours. Well, hopefully this pathogen was spotted early. I don't see all of your crew members tipping over, so I'm guessing you caught it before it got too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then that means the quarantine process shouldn't take too long.
You never know with these kind of things, sir. If you'll excuse me, I have other duties, and I just cut it off.
Mm-hmm. The active con officer, it like finally lets out a breath. I don't think they bought that.
Oh no, they didn't. But right now, they don't have too much of a reason to come at us. So I'm gonna stay where I stay on the bridge in case I need to take over the helm in case they start showing some initiative.
Yeah. I'll. You know what? I'm gonna let engineering know that they might need to do a bit of overtime.
Yeah, I want shield. Don't activate the shields yet. That will keep them. That will alert them to our shenanigans. But be ready for those shields. Be ready to bring everything online as fast as possible.
Commander, I realize, and I have empathized and sympathized what you went through in the past year. But I feel, being that there's no one present that really holds, in this moment, a secondary rank, which actually is me, I feel it a necessity to point out. Our shields, even with upgrades, 1 or 2 of those torpedoes will obliterate our shields.
And if we have 0, only 1 will take us out. So a shield will keep us alive for just a second longer, and that's sometimes all we need. So be ready. And I want to go up to this officer a little bit, like close, and just like talk to him. And I appreciate your concern. Next time, try to do it less publicly. And I just walk, and I just go back to the command chair, and I sit down. And this officer is probably smart enough to figure it out. But Leora, the tips of most of Leora is still, but the tips of their fingers are like twitching a little bit, like they're instinctively getting ready to do evasive maneuvers, even though they're not in the helm chair.
Yeah.
But the rest of Leora is very calm.
Mm-hmm. Connor, what are you doing in this moment? Because I think you're probably technically still on the bridge, so you did see that exchange. But I mean, you also
Leora will have made sure that no one could hear them.
Yeah, I mean, you have seen the like initial exchange, not the whisper, but also, but you were able to see, like, you did see that like view screen call, and it is like rife with tension.
I would also like to, sorry, Vance, but I would also like to send a message to Jaloran saying we got 3 hours, probably less.
If that
She sends an acknowledgement back.
Okay.
So at this point, Kana has been brought into the loop about the interdimensional aliens, I would assume.
Oh yeah, you're not.
Oh yeah,
gonna
you
get
know,
information
you know
from
about
the
it.
information. Not at. If you have a primary command team, there's no way you don't know at this point.
Yeah, she probably would have read you in fairly early, but like definitely at some point in the last year.
Commander, I wonder if these aliens were smart enough to change the prefix code for the Prometheus.
Expand on your ideas.
If we could gain access to the Prometheus through the prefix codes, we could get access to the security systems and the video cameras.
Leora thinks for a moment. Do it.
Understood, Commander. And I assume this is going to be a big role.
Oh yeah, because you're. This could have heavy consequences.
Can Leora assist with their command, their command?
Yes, you may. But this is let's see here. This is 100%. This is daring security. 100%. This is daring security. This is going to come as no surprise to you. This is going to be a difficulty 5. And I'm going to spend 4 points of threat.
Computers hacking again?
Yes.
What would it be for an assist from Leora?
I think we're just gonna do 1d20 roll for this, just to simplify it.
Yeah, that's what assists are. But what discipline am I running, or do I just roll a d20 and hope I get below a 10?
This for you. You could either choose daring security as well, or daring command, because this is kind of a high risk, high reward maneuver here. Because if you mess it up, those 3 hours go away immediately.
All right, would lead by example work for here?
Yes.
All right.
And just to let you know, Joe, I have studious, intense scrutiny, and bold science. Would any of those help here?
Bold science will let you buy a die from Joe for threat, and then if you roll them, you could re-roll any of your die.
Okay, because I will be giving Joe a threat for an extra die.
Okay.
Yes, so you can re-roll those die. I don't know if you can roll one or all of them. I forget.
I believe you can roll 1.
Yeah, so
Okay.
roll 3 dice and re-roll one of them if you need to.
And I have 2 values that I think might be useful here.
Okay.
Peace is fleeting and must be protected is one of them. And family is everything, both biological and my Starfleet family.
You can pick either one. But what I am going to say with those values is also, again, if this ends up, if a complication comes up anywhere, just so you are aware what you are doing. If a complication comes up anywhere, it is going to be bad.
Yep.
All right, and so for assist, I can't use my values, can I?
I do not believe so, no.
Yeah, and it's only 1 die, so I'll roll it.
Yep.
So my daring and security is 15. So, and I have 2 successes already thanks to the value. I'm going to use family is everything, both biological and my Starfleet family. Alright, going to roll my dice.
Mhm.
I have a 6, a 5, and a 15, and I'm going to re-roll the 15 if that's alright.
Yep, that's totally fine.
And it is a 9. So 5 successes, I think.
And Leora rolled a 3, which is underneath their command.
Okay,
So that's two. That's 2 from Leora. So that's 7
2 momentum then.
to momentum. Yeah, good job, us.
Kinda, this is one of the most intricate systems. Like, the Prometheus, like the Defiant, is more or less a scientific combat ship. And so it's geared to not be messed with. So you are, like, you're not even realizing it in the moment, but, like, beads of sweat are running down your forehead and stuff, because one mess up, one little microsecond of a delay or a screw up, those 3 hours that Leora bought will go away.
I think Leora sees that that Kana's like sweating a little bit and like puts a hand on her shoulder, and like the hand is now very steady and very calm. This is Leora in her element, and they go, "You've got this. You've trained for this. You can do this. Just stay calm. Follow the money. You got this."
Yes, sir. And she also is using some of the meditation techniques that her Vulcan partner has taught her, because that's one of her
I
favorite
think
things.
this is also one of those things, kind of, where having it explained to you didn't help. But in the moment of need, it makes a lot more sense when you're under stress.
Mhm.
And eventually,
And she takes a deep breath and just focuses like 100% on the task at hand.
mm-hmm. And realistically, this takes about maybe 25-30 seconds. For you, kind of, this probably felt like days.
Mhm.
Before you get a confirmation that they did not change the prefix codes, and you were able to gain access to like internal security monitoring. That's not to say like you can do anything to mess with their shields or anything, but at least you can see inside their internal workings to certain areas where like quotations cameras are.
Mhm.
I want. Sorry, go ahead.
And just like with on planet, she is recording everything so that the captain can see when she comes back up to the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start identifying every officer and enlisted person I see.
Understood, Commander. And she is having the computer flag every individual that the cameras see.
Mm-hmm. It is like it's one of those things where you're like looking at it on a view screen as well, where you're just like, it's not the proper like main view screen, but it's like in one of the back walls where you're like seeing records getting pulled up. You're seeing commendations and like reprimands and things like that just constantly flying up, going away, flying up, going away. And for the most part, what you're seeing out of these people is primarily, I mean, some of them have like Starfleet legacy in them, but for the most part, they are kind of nobodies that don't get noticed. The
But they. So I'm trying to see like, what's the pattern? Is there any, besides being nobodies? Like, were they in fights? Were they in like fights of like were they nobodies who suddenly became somebody, or if they like were they in fights? Like, there's always a pattern.
Or
yeah.
were they like Rahi, whereas they should have died, but there's suddenly a miraculous recovery?
That is the most common theme, whether it's through combat mission or through disease or just freak accident. But that is the most notable theme, is where they shouldn't have recovered but did.
Yeah, because there's always a pattern, even when people don't actually know that they're making a pattern.
Yeah, separately, if you were to look at certain people, it would just be it would come off as mostly coincidence or like, oh, that's just a thing in a record, because it's not uncommon for injuries and stuff to happen on mission. But this type of like consistency of like, and some of them are like, oh, they should have died, but some of them are maybe along the lines of, oh, this person is probably going to need an artificial leg or is going to lose the ability to walk or something, and that just never happened.
And Leora can see Carolyn's eyes become like narrow slits as she's studying these aliens are forming habits. I don't think they realize they are forming. And they're the people they choose to replace.
Yes, but remember, right now it's just a theory.
Indeed, but
It's a very promising theory, but we could just be overly paranoid. But we'll see what happens in those 3 hours. Good work, Kana. Good work.
and she kind of shakily nods and then starts to do the breathing exercises again to restore her equilibrium.
And we will resume this episode in about 5-10 minutes with the whole scene in sickbay. But for now, we're just going to take a 5 to 10 and get water and all of those things. So we will be right back. Welcome back. We're just gonna jump right into it. Down in the doors to sickbay, Captain Jaloran, you were entering sort of that signature just hissing noise of the two doors opening where Kavai is, I think. Mira's, I don't know if Kavai had Mira lay down or sit down or...
Well, in the sickbay office, she probably
no.
would have been sitting down.
Well, I mean, unless she was forced to, Mira is pacing, actually. She's pacing, and she looks very, very, like, concentrated. And the only thing you can see is, like, her fingers kind of trembling. That's the only other thing you see about her. Otherwise, she's completely stone-faced.
If I would be like definitely like tamping everything down best they can, seeing someone else panic, not helping their own panic, but I think the moment they hear the doors open, Captain, we needed cooler heads here. I will start just like passing over files and trying to catch stuff up, but like it comes out kind of like jumbled, like a lot of like false starts.
Aurelia has shadowed Jaloran down to sickbay, and she is gonna key in on Mira first. Aurelia recognizes that seems to be a bigger source of problem. So Aurelia's gonna do what she can to comfort Mira, while Jaloran looks through the information that Kavai is passing her.
You got handed a series of note codes, not in order. Is probably what it looks like right now.
Basically. This... I don't think are... Obviously, feelings not invalid, but... This just, my instinct was to raise an alarm. But I realized that, we have other things going on. But...
No. Mira's going to interrupt her, actually. Whatever we got going on, other than that, we have to put on pause. We have to immediately leave and tell this to everybody. This is not like a funny, silly little situation we're in. This is serious and this is dangerous. I don't know how these hillbillies got themselves weapons, but they are going to blow up at least one galaxy. And I am not even kidding here. I'm not even exaggerating. Oh, God.
Kavai will just give the captain just a look of like, I didn't think I was like overreacting here, but I don't want to be underreacting either. Just like of a pure like, I'm not blue screening yet, but I could be. I think they just repeat under their breath, cooler heads.
Jaloran's gonna take a moment to like peruse through the information, but she is going to look up at Mira and like just as calmly and firmly as she can. I recognize the seriousness of the situation. We have multiple threads that we're following here.
She kind of pauses, then looks at Jaloran and squints. Wait, you knew, didn't you, that this place is the place?
I was aware of where we were headed. Your birthplace is still another light year out. So I knew that they looked like you. But as far as the extent of their society, I only knew as far as what Starfleet knew. A lot of this information, and she holds up what Kavai has given her, this is brand new to me. The extent of what they've done is brand new to me. What I knew coming in is you looked like them. And that was it.
She kind of looks a little disheartened. Wait, really? So, all the things that I told you, I mean, I know I told you them confidence and such, but the things I told you about myself when we were in that hologram of yours, you just thought it was a joke. Just thought I
I'm
was
going
not
to edge
serious.
towards the door and flee.
she's gonna hold a hand up to Kavai to stop her from leaving the room. And she just kind of gestures over to the chair and is like, "No, have a seat."
What was
I
not
like, but
trusted
and like
enough source for you?
Mira, I did not think it was a joke. Within the parameters of our mission, I didn't know it was even connected. But what you're showing me, what I'm hearing, is that it is connected. So now I need to know more. I need to know what you remember.
She kind of like rubs her temples, both of them at the same time. Being angry at you is not productive, but doesn't mean that I'm not. Whatever.
I understand. I get it. I would be upset too.
Really? You think that those words mean something, right? I would be upset too. But still, you didn't do something not to make me upset. It's just so you know, when people say I would be something too, and they didn't do this to, for this not happen, it does not make you feel better. But I'm sorry, I'm getting out of line. We're going back to the topic. What I know about these people is that about 10, I can't say that I know the correct count, 10, 12, 15 years ago, those people were absolute idiots. They were just a bunch of savages killing each other for no specific reason. These are not normal people. They are psychopaths. They are raising psychopaths. And they want to spread their influence. These audio files that Dubai sent to you, they're not just, propaganda. They are the propaganda. They are the worst type of thing. These are people who were killing for fun. I was lucky to be abducted and then thrown into a fighting ring because there I had more chances to survive. That's the gist of it. I don't know what they're planning now. I don't know where they took the technology from. I don't know what absolute idiots gave them the technology. But they are bound to become a problem. And I mean a huge problem. A Borg level problem even. This is not going to be good.
It's like you can tell Jalorn is definitely mulling over something, and it's like she's got a question, but she isn't sure how to phrase it. But she's clearly hooked onto something that you've said. When you mention that 10, maybe 15 years ago, they didn't have the technology. How did they get to the planet you were raised on?
I have no clue.
Did
The-
they seem to just
What?
appear?
I don't know. Where we did was pure chaos. Nobody was teaching us history or anything. So, yeah. I have no idea about where these people, my people, are from or what they're all about. I know that the people who got me were aware that I'm one of them. That's why they got me. They needed a fighter, and here I was. Yeah. Whoever was gutsy enough to survive on that planet was kind of a treasure hoard, you know. Other than that, that's all that I know. That these are bad people. But how, when, where, what's the history behind them? I know that about every week they would just start killing each other, and that's it. Maiming in the gruesomest ways. And I doubt that any historian that we or they would have would be very lucky to survive to write a book about where we are from.
Part of what we're finding is their history doesn't even go back more than 300 years. So there's clearly some method of purging going on. And what I'm hearing from you is that they are not exactly native to these two planets. They come from somewhere else. They took over. Yes?
Me, I wouldn't know. I was just, born
Just a
there,
little kid.
and that's kind of, yeah. If you're lucky, your parents would survive and they would protect you long enough for you to become an adult and then grab the weapon yourself. If you're a little less lucky, your parents get killed and you join sort of a kid group, you know? They would stand up for each other, find hiding places. What it's all about. You don't kill children much because still need the population somewhat, but it takes a lot of belief killing people over 15. So you have to hold on to each other when you're a child. Again, that's all I know. It's not. We didn't have much in terms of sciences and the such. We know what we could eat, what we couldn't eat. History was not very much a priority when you survived every single week. Yeah. But
Jolaren nods
maybe
in acknowledgement.
we were not native, so. But I never saw anybody, that's not like me there. No other races, that's for sure.
What we're seeing is a very odd level of technology. It's like what we were observing in the last hour is a level of technology that should not be there, given with the information that we were given prior to coming out here. There's a Prometheus class ship out there. The USS Io. This
It's
ship is complicating matters because they seem to be very interested in whatever it is that enabled this civilization to make such a leap in technology. One of the other things that we discovered, she looks down at the data pad and pulls up the life scans and hands it over to Mira. And she gestures Kavai over to come look at the same scans.
Kavai has been pressed so far into this seat for all the world of like, just I'm going to disappear into these cushions. I don't exist. And like, until they get called over, they have been running the words, shut up, don't say anything, shut the fuck up. Like, just in their head over and over and over. And it takes a second for them to register, like, oh, nope, that's my name. They very, very stiffly, without making eye contact with anyone, will, like, very much like, if you've ever heard close friends arguing in the same room, or, like, God forbid, your parents, shit like that. It's like that level of, I am not acknowledging this, I am just here, I'm doing what I'm told, yep, don't draw attention! And I will take a peep.
Mm-hmm. Same information, all that stuff that's been repeated before, but the 116 crew members on the USS Io, and specifically the body temps, are the thing that jump out the most.
I'm desperately trying to figure out how all of this, like, correlates, and I think if I just, like, stares at this for a really long time, not saying anything, but very clearly, like, their gears turning, and, is it possible to, like, start ruling stuff out? Like, there has to, this is clearly more tied in, it's not, like, a coincidence, it's not, like,
Are you trying to figure out, like, where everything starts to correlate?
yeah, kinda, like, yeah, we know that these beings are interdimensional. Are there any other aspects to that that we could be overlooking? It's obviously Mira's people have gotten technology they weren't supposed to have. Could anything be out of time? Anything, like, just trying to rule anything out type
Okay.
stuff.
So, because Kavai is a sponge for information, certain aspects will jump out to you. One, the immediate, the body temps, all those things. Those jump out. But the things that, like, come out immediately that I think catches the most alarm for you is the amount of, like, medical research that, and it's very difficult to concentrate because Aurelia is trying her best to comfort me and it's not working.
I love them.
But the thing that jumps out to you, like, in terms of, like, understanding sort of these creatures, these sort of parasitic entities, and you're trying to, like, figure out where's the connection, what makes the most sense. And the thing that jumps out to you, after reminiscing on it forever, for so long, the way they operate is so very similar to how a Trill symbiote would operate, but a much more, like, primeval and, like, primitive version.
Huh.
Which lets you kind of also form the connection that reports that you got from, like, visitations to Trill that Jaloran and Leora took. At the time, Miraloris intervened against a Trill sub-faction, sort of like extremist faction.
Lil, your mic is doing something weird.
Mine?
Yeah, it was for a second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't want to
Okay.
get like. Oh man.
And the theory that Jaloran was trying to voice was like, the Prometheus ship out there is full of those interdimensional beings that we've been trying to track, and B, they're like the state of the planets and Mira's people, like her birth race, like that's concerning. And there seems to be some sort of technology they've gained access to, and that technology this group of interdimensional beings is interested in. It's like they're trying to get at it.
Yeah, I will say there's, unfortunately, and I don't know if you want to voice this or not, do so at your own risk, within the confines of sickbay. The only way to potentially find this technology would be to go there.
But as like what she finishes explaining is it's like that she finishes explaining that it's like the interdimensional beings that we encountered, we're fairly certain they've replaced the crew of the Prometheus and they're here now. And then she posits that like we think they're after the technology that Mirror's people have gained access to, and B, if everything we're gleaning indicates they want to expand beyond the system. Starfleet Prime Directive prevents us from doing anything to influence and interact with their society. But if this technology has already
Sorry, point of
altered
clarification. Whose society?
Mira's, the people that
When they've already
like the-
clearly interacted with ours?
well, that's where she's headed, and it's like their society has already been influenced and altered, and it's like, and if what Mira is saying is true, that it's like they're headed for trying to expand beyond this system, and this technology enables them to do that, and then of course these interdimensional beings are also interested in this technology, then us figuring out what this technology is and getting like where we can intervene is figuring out where this technology is and how to disable it or get rid of it. And it's like that would stop, to a certain extent, their expansionist plans.
Mm-hmm.
It would also stop the interdimensional beings. And then she leaves, like she doesn't outright state it, but she does imply heavily that like one of the problems is we need eyes on it. We need to be able to get down there and figure out, because like our scans and whatever we're doing is not giving us enough information.
Just above table, just so every one of the players knows, this is also knowledge for Lynn, but I think Lynn's kind of making this point as well. This planet is the fulcrum point that will make or break this quadrant and probably the galaxy at large.
Cool. Cool. No pressure.
Yeah,
Um,
so
yeah,
it's
Nice,
like,
wasn't it?
Joe, can you expand on that a little bit? I'm not entirely sure what you're saying.
So, the crux of everything is this planet here, with the
Powder keg.
technology and like the interest involved. Because clearly the USS Io and its crew is interested in that technology. The population of this planet and its people is kind of dead set on expansion and conquest. To hell with everyone else. And this technology also is allowing them to do that. So essentially, if that technology disappears, they probably can't upkeep it. And in addition to that, though it wouldn't immediately affect everything, it puts a huge roadblock in anything, so countermeasures could be put in place.
GM
and it's like as Jaloran walks the two of them through that, and it's like at the very end she caps it and it's like, in a roundabout way we can stop them.
Okay,
But we need to get our hands on whatever it is they've got.
Very slow nod from Kavai. God, they're thinking something so fucking stupid. GM question.
Yes.
We have not interacted with these guys much. Do other people might know? Player might just be confused. Do we know how they can?
They what?
Do we know how they the interdimensional beings communicate on like to each other at all?
Presumably just through verbal or telepathic means.
That's what I wanted to know. But we wouldn't have any kind of bead on if they're like they function individually, not as like a hive mind type thing. Or would we have any?
It feels very much that they're not a hive mind. They're definitely more independent, which makes them honestly more dangerous.
Especially with how well coordinated all of this seems to be. Okay. Telepathy I can work. Okay. Captain, I have a bad idea.
She quirks an eyebrow at that.
They're very clearly like you could tell that every fiber of their being is like telling them not to voice this. For a multitude of reasons. Just gonna put this out there since I know you have to go over there. If it benefits you, and it's like a very sarcastic tone. Could I put in a bid for a promotion? Essentially, I would like to offer to take Leora's spot to head over. We need them here. To keep
I
everyone
don't
else
think
safe.
that's a good idea to go as a big group. And I know I'm going.
Two separate plans. I want on that ship.
Yeah, Jaloran fills Mira in real quick about the fact that the Prometheus had made contact, and that the Commodore wanted to speak. So there was a plan to for
Yeah.
Jaloran and her first to go over to the ship.
And also,
But
I want to point out that by this time, Leora, you could presume that Leora has already talked to the Commodore, so the Commodore does know Leora's face.
That's fine. We have ways around it.
So it was like she mentions that Leora would be speaking to the Commodore to stall for time because they were supposed to be going over to the ship like a few minutes ago. So she clarifies, it's like, yeah, it's like there's the plan to go over to the ship, but B, it's becoming clear that we need to get somebody down to the planet.
And I think by this time, Kana would have pinged Captain that she has eyes on cameras inside the Prometheus.
She walks over to one of the wall consoles and she pulls up the feed. And she will have noticed that the computer is flagging and identifying crew members.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have drawn the same. She would have noticed the same pattern in the personnel files.
Oh yeah. Hard to miss once the pattern's there.
Wait, filling in on your idea. You want to go to the ship with parasites on it? She's like looking at Kawai in shock.
Can I just like... They don't crumple at it, but... There's very much like you would feel it wafting off them of like, I knew it was a bad idea. I was to immediately be vetoed, and yet they definitely are operating on some kind of underlying confidence that they do not want to admit even to themselves that they have of, we can figure this out. But I need to poke around. Yeah, I don't like it either. But we can't keep avoiding them. But I don't want Leora over there. Sir, I look back at Jaloran.
Is there like a way to not be infected by a parasite? Because I really don't want you to be in this situation.
I'm not worried about that.
Well, I know you are. Like, a lot. I can see it, you know? We're friends, I know you.
That's not...
But, listen, come on. I trust you, right? You are incredibly smart person.
Eh.
I have confidence in you, but also I want to make sure that you're going to walk out of this fine. You can handle it, but
Could
also
I, as a player, don't want to give anything away, but I'm willing to if hang on. I don't know, like, is it possible to ask for an insight against another player?
Yeah. Okay, here's what we were gonna do.
shit. Okay.
Kavai, you are going to do. Are you trying to be like as deceptive about it, or are you just trying to like not show face? Like,
They have a plan in mind. And they are attempting to lie to the two hardest people in the fucking world
okay,
about what they want to do because Kavai is 100% confident that it will work.
all right. Presence command. There is no difficulty. You are going to roll a presence command. You may do anything to influence that roll as much as possible. And however many successes you get will be Mira's difficulty.
Is she trying to bluff
Fascinating.
both Mira and Jaloran? Would that mean Jaloran also needs to roll?
Yes, but we're gonna figure out what the success needs to be.
Okay, I am going to I'm gonna completely burn a value and just destroy it here. Secrets
That
can
would
be
be-
earned. That's gone.
That would be challenging. You're challenging
Yeah,
a value, which means it's
that-
going to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So which one again?
Secrets can be
Secrets
earned.
can be earned.
Okay. Mike, turn off a little bit.
Just typing. Dang it.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
hear it through your mic.
I swear to God, it used to be like, oh, we can't hear anything. We can't hear anything. And
Fun.
now we can hear everything. It's like, oh my gosh.
Pendulum it
I need to
swings.
fart. I need to fart more. It would be so nice.
Anyway,
we
To
need to find the middle.
Cut out my farts. Everything.
oh my god. Anyways, what is your goodbye? What is your
So I sorry, I'm like trying to keep chill here. What would you like me to do? I just need this broken down for me.
Okay, so you already burned the value, which is giving
Yep.
you 2 successes.
Okay.
From this point forward, you can do a presence command roll. And
Okay.
depending on the result of that will influence the difficulty.
Okay. As much as I would like to
and we're
steal a momentum for another die, I'm not going to do disingenuous.
And we're still aiming for numbers under the combined value of presence command. Yes.
Yes.
So that's what counts as successes.
I rolled a 1 and a 3.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
Do you have any
that's-
focuses that are gonna come into play? Because that could be a lot of successes if you do.
Because right now we're at 5.
Diplomacy?
I don't feel like this is being diplomatic. I feel like this is being deceptive.
Oh, how about xenopsychology?
Yeah, that'll do it.
I know my
What's
friends very well, and my captain.
What's your command score?
Just a 1.
Okay. So
Okay, so that 3 is not a crit. You need to be under your discipline. So it's we're
5
supposed to-
successes.
So it's 5.
okay.
So Mira and Jalora need to beat 5.
Correct. So here is what is going to happen here. Vance or Slay, give me a number between 1 and 4.
All right, I'll do it. 3.
3? Okay. So, this for Mira and Jaloran is going to be Insight Security roll with a difficulty of 5 with a threat burn of 3.
Thanks, Slay.
Oh no, I knew what Joe was putting down because he's done that before. I did that intentionally. He did that when you guys were coming to try and get me that one time when I was freaking out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't do it.
I just want the-
otherwise you'll always expect it.
I just wanted the chaos. That's what the chaos. Come on, let's do it. We're almost at the end. Let's do this.
Thank you. Okay. Let's talk in each hit. Wait, am I rolling 1d4, right?
No, this is 2d20.
2d20. Okay.
Yep, 2d20, and then between the 2d20, like on each value of the die, add your insight and your security, and meet it or go under it.
Fucking math. Okay, 1 second. Let me find my shit.
So if your insight security is like 15, you have to be a 15 or under. I don't know what your actual is, but that's just the
Insight's
example.
10, security is 3, so 13 or under.
Okay. Okay, first let me find my fucking d20s. Okay, found it. Okay, so 2d20s.
And you can burn a value, you can use focus, you can do whatever you need.
Let me see what I got. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry, I was opening my sheet. I keep forgetting to open it before the session.
Alright.
Okay, so here we go. Let me roll first, and then I'll see if I use anything. Okay. So I got 16 and 10. Okay, I need you guys to hand hold me for this a little bit.
So the 10 would be a success, the 16 is not?
It's just outside the complication range that we decided on.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Burn a value, you say?
Let me see.
I don't think that'll get you up to the number of successes that you need with what you just rolled.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's fair. I guess not.
it would just get you the
Mira's in
3.
a lot of stress right now too.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I'm not even gonna try. So,
I mean,
what?
Oh, never mind. I thought you had.
It can all be a
the help
success.
here.
Nah, I mean, maybe the protecting the patient is more important than self-defense, but that's not.
That doesn't really fit in
Because-
this case.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. Yeah.
Could I argue? As much as me, the player, I don't want you guys to succeed, but knowing
No,
what
Kabai is not her patient.
I would argue that you have a case for it.
Maybe a wee bit, but yeah.
True, but mathematically she can't get enough successes. So
Yeah.
All right, Jolene, where are you at?
She's gonna pull on I'm thinking compassion through understanding, which is one of her values. And she also has a focus in composure.
Okay, I think those two work. Let me know if any complications pop up.
1 and a 3.
1 to 3.
that's 4 successes plus.
Dang, it's the same as
That's
mine.
4 successes on the die plus your value. That's 6 successes.
Yep.
So I got 1 over.
Yep. So you have a momentum.
Mhm.
Now, Silver / Kai, you can share. What Jaloran would pick up on is entirely your prerogative of to kind of what you're trying to not throw up there. Mira, you might get pieces of it, but you're not gonna get the full of it.
Jaloran would know Kavai very well, especially their history. Might not have all of the details or specifics. Mira would actually, but might not put together their thought process here in this moment. But
Just picking up stuff again a little.
she is 100% confident that she can, at the very least, incapacitate or disable anyone on that ship that they want to.
Okay. Jaloran, I think you know enough about that. For Mira, all you're getting is just kind of a impressive sense of confidence. But Jaloran, this is up to you. As commander, I think you can see the pros and cons of looping in Mira to this or not. If you loop Mira into this, there's a lot of probably pushback that comes with it. If you let it kind of happen, again, this is a very like high risk, high reward maneuver, and also Kavai is making a decent bit of sense. If Leora is not at the helm, it's not to say that other helm officers aren't capable. It is just no one is as quick or as efficient at the con station as Leora.
Can I add in something though?
Yes.
Jaloran would notice. Jaloran would probably be the only one to notice that Leora is slightly off their game. But then again, a Leora that's off their game is still better than most people. So just throwing that in there.
Mm-hmm.
The only outward
I'm also gonna
Thing-
DM you, Cap.
yeah, the only outward signs of what Jaloran's thinking is like she just stares down Kavai hard.
Is it kind of a
But then-
stare down of like, you need to be 100% sure? Like, is it kind of that type of?
Yeah. But she also taps her comm and states command team to the conference room. ASAP. And she just gestures for the two of them to follow her.
Before that happens, could I try something with the security, with the access we have
True.
with the
what do you wanna try?
Prometheus? So, Kana's grandmother has made her watch many old-style horror movies in the
Mhm.
past.
Yeah.
And there was always a trope where there's a space for the bad guys to, rest
Mhm.
in whatever building, and
Yeah.
she's gonna try and find that spot in the Prometheus of where the aliens would, if they are there, would be in rest mode, sort of thing.
I don't think you find anything like that.
Okay. She had to try.
The command
I looked-
team.
yeah.
Okay, continue.
I just say I look to Kana. I say, "All right, we're being summoned." And the next who is the next senior officer in this? 'Cause someone needs to be on the bridge.
Honestly, that is probably Lieutenant Davis.
All right, I look to Davis. You have the bridge.
Yes, sir.
All right, and I go.
All right. The doors to the conference room close as everyone arrives with a heavy weight in the air. But that is where we will end this episode.
No!
Like I said at the beginning of
That's
this
unfair.
like I said at the beginning of this stream, we were doing things a little differently. So before we head off, is there anywhere where people can find you that is not here?
Hi, I'm Slay. You can find me over on Twitter and Blue Sky at Sons of Warvan. I will be on the Tales from the Table channel for two different games for their charity month for the LA fires. I'll be on there this coming Friday at 9 p.m. EST for a game of Outgun, and then I will be there the following Thursday, same time, for a game of Fabula Ultima. And those are both charity games for the LA fires.
Ah, nice. I didn't realize that.
With that in mind, I will second notion and that heavily encourage that everyone tune into that. Anyone else?
Hello everybody. I'm here and I hope my microphone is not picking up all the dogs barking outside my house. So it's me, Little Legend, and yet again I am plugging in my Tumblr because I am too lazy to have anything else. So my Tumblr, where you can even commission me for art, is Little Legend Arts. And if you are curious about my passion project, which taking a little bit too long to complete, but it means it's quality, my little comic, Your World on a Plate, I've already released a small little comedy short on it on my blog. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm slowly working on more. So I hope you visit my stuff and, I hope you like it.
Oh yeah. I can second that it's But yeah, hi there. I am Sugar. You can find me most places on the internet as Silver Sugar or X Silver Sugar. The X is silent. I am trying to get back into the streaming life. Slow going there. But I've also been working on some of my own homebrew for 5e, and I'm about ready to start taking applications for players. I will let you guys know via the Rune and Rift server, if not my own, what all I plan to do there, so keep an eye out.
I volunteer as tribute.
Well, thank you. I'm excited.
Oh, that was so fast. Anyways, and of course, within Rune and Relic here, again, if we hit 50 followers here, we'll do a Lower Decks 2-shot of some variation at some point. We'll probably still do it anyways, but that's the only way
God,
you're
please, I
ever
want to
going
play
to
it so
see it.
bad.
On top of that, I think I can finally announce kind of what we've been working on in the background of Star Trek Intelligence's final season here as we work on our next game, which is Star Trek Fringe, which is going to be a Fringe colony Star Trek game that explores a little bit about life at the edge of the galaxy. Very I don't I don't know how to word it. What it's gonna be like. We've decided it's Space Australia from what I've seen. But
Oh God.
And we're gonna be the insufferable colonists.
Guys, I'm so excited. If you guys have enjoyed this game at all, you need to be around for Fringe.
I can already
Because
tell Fringe is
already-
gonna be unhinged.
Point of order: Rune and Relic does not support colonialism. Just bringing that
No,
up.
not
Yeah.
even remotely.
No.
Because I'm gonna be there. That's why you gotta come to listen and watch it because I'm gonna be a part of it.
Hell
No other
yeah.
reason.
But anyways, that's
Oh my God, I'm
mainly
so
what we have.
excited.
Once Star Trek Intelligence ends, we might have some off-season things with different games and cast members if I can get certain procrastinating people to fucking reply. But but we'll see.
Get there.
You almost called out the entire cast of this show, dude.
Hey now, we're pretty good.
No, you all are good at replying. There are just some people that are really bad at it.
Get their asses.
I know where one of them lives. I mean, it is like a
Seek 'em.
6-hour drive, but I will find them.
Seek 'em.
Anyways,
Fine.
this is Ben Star Trek Intelligence's final season, episode 2, The Edge. And as always, that we've always said here, we hope that tonight this game has been, at least for a moment, or the hour, or the evening, it has been a delightful little slice of R&R, and we will see you next time.